This episode is brought to you by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro near you at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.
Carol is with us. Carol is in New York City. Hi, Carol. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hello. Thank you so much for taking my call. It's a thrill to talk to y'all.
You too. What's up?
I have a husband who's retiring within the next 12 months, and we'd like to finish paying off the mortgage on the house.
Good.
Yes, but per your advice. And our financial advisor is advising us not to because the mortgage is at under 3%, and our investments are doing well above that. However, that doesn't matter to us. We want to plow ahead and get this done. And our next question to him is, how can we best divest of our investments and pull the money out, make the cash available to do this? And his next tier of advice is to pull from our bonds that are earning at tax-free rates, as opposed to pulling from our mutual funds that we'll have to pay capital gains taxes on. What do you suggest we do?
You probably got no gain on your bonds. Their probably value is down, even though the coupon rate stayed the same. But as interest rates rise, bond values go down. And so my guess is that you bought them during a lower interest rate environment, so they're probably not even worth what you paid for them today. Is that right?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
I don't think you're going to have any gain to amount to anything. So I like his advice on that basis.
Okay.
And what is your total nest egg?
$4 million.
Okay. And how much is the mortgage?
$800,000.
Okay. Good. And you guys are how old?
69 and 67.
Cool. And how much have you got in these bonds?
That I don't know. That's a good question.
Is about 800 is enough to do this? Or?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Yes. By the way he was talking about it. I was not that specific with him.
Okay.
Is he the one that put you guys in the bonds, Carol, to begin with, or was that something that you had?
Yes. No, we've been with him for our entire working career.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes, I agree with his advice on that. I would use the bonds first to answer your question. Okay. This guy, you need to be aware of a couple things here with this guy. I'm not quite ready to fire him, but I'm close.
Right.
Okay.
I hear you.
Number one, because his job is not to take his glasses on the end of his nose and speak down to you, little people who have $4 million, and you shouldn't be paying off your mortgage. Listen to the wise financial advisor, because bullcrap. His job is to say, okay, what are your goals and how can I help you accomplish them?
Yes.
So I don't like his approach to this, and it's very typical in the financial advising world, this level of arrogance. It's just below the. It's not overt arrogance, but it's a subversive arrogance.
But this advice is very prominent among financial advisors.
It's a standard. That's the second problem I've got with him is he did two very standard things in the financial world that I completely disagree with. One is he told you not to pay off your mortgage, and the second is he put you in bonds.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so these bonds, you have a fourth of your money tied up in something that's substantially underperforming because of this guy.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
And that's these bonds. So and because here's the thing. Again, the simple thing to remember about bonds is this. In the financial advising world, we have been taught, and everyone for some reason decided to agree with it rather than actually making their own decisions. But the people like me and him that are trained in this stuff, we've been taught that as you get older, we use what's called the asset allocation methodology or theory, and that as you get older, you should be in less and less and less risk. Yes, and so that by the time of your age, you should largely be in bonds and money markets and have very little in equities, okay? The problem is that everybody just accepted this as if it's a fact. It's not a fact. It's a theory. It's an idea. And I disagree with it. I'm 64. I have zero in bonds and almost the same amount in money markets. I got a little bit in money markets just because I like some cash, but I'm not sitting in. Haven't moved everything away from equities because as you get older, you should limit risk, because that's horse crap. If I live to 94 and I'm 64 and I've been in an instrument making 8% instead of an instrument making 12 or 14, The amount of money I've lost during that 30 years is millions. So it's bad advice, this asset allocation methodology. It's bad advice. And so he put you in these bonds. The second thing you need to know about bonds is that they are not legitimately safer than stocks or mutual funds, okay? Because when you track the volatility of bond values versus the volatility of mutual fund stock values, they're very similar. It's not safer. It's really not. And the reason is the third thing, and then I'll let you go, okay, is this thing.
I love it.
But I mean, it's teaching for everybody out there. Right?
It's good.
It's everybody out there.
Thank you.
Bonds, the thing you remember about bonds is there's a set interest rate on the bond. So when interest rates rise, in order to achieve that same, a higher, let's say you got a 4% rate and interest rates are 7%. And so people are expecting 7%, but your bond is only paying 4%. So the value of your bond goes down as interest rates rise. It goes up as interest rates fall. Bond prices are exactly inverse to the prevailing interest rate market. So in a record low in the last 100 years, we had a unprecedented 3% interest rate environment for a decade, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And in the middle of the lowest interest rate environment in known history, this guy puts you in bonds.
Yes.
And where's it going to go from the lowest in interest rate environment in history? Up. As interest rates go up, your bond values go down. And so I'm afraid you may have actually lost money on these bonds when you get into them. But I'm hoping you at least broke even. That's what I'm hoping. So interest rates, folks, bond prices, the value of a bond goes down as interest rates rise. So you never would buy bonds in a rising interest rate environment. You would buy them in a falling interest rate environment if you were going to buy bonds at all. And that's because of the yield on the bond has to approximate the prevailing rate, and yet the coupon rate is fixed.
Yeah. And I think one of the most important things we've learned with the financial advisor is exactly what you said at the top of this, is that here are my goals. And if they're not respecting or hearing that, they're going to do the inverse of that, right?
Where else have I got to figure out that you're giving me bad numbers?
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm not ready to fire this guy, but I really dislike bonds from him, and I dislike his mortgage advice, and I dislike that he's kind of telling you what to do instead of asking you what you want to do.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. Need help with your investments? Connect with a SmartVestor Pro at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.